This is absolutely crazy making. You are sacrificing your own guest experience. You want to do everything possible to set up those contractors for success. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here, the founder of Guest Focused Tour Business Coaching, where every day myself and our team of tour business coaches are helping you build a thriving, profitable tour business. In today's deep dive, we're going to be looking at freelancers versus employees. Every tour operator out there, whether you're doing single day or multi-day, is faced with this question. What is the right choice when hiring tour leaders, experienced hosts, activity coordinators, whatever you want to call them? We are either choosing to hire them as a freelancer, as a contractor, or to build out a team of employees. In this video, we're going to go through the pros and cons of each, some important considerations that might be based on your geography as well as your business size. Now, I gotta say this right off the front, there are some legal considerations. So this is not legal advice. I am not a lawyer. I don't play one on the internet. However, we'll go through each of those legal considerations that you can bring up with your legal counsel. Let's get started. In the context of tour guides, the difference between the contractor and the employee largely depends on a degree of control and a degree of independence. So a contracted tour guide, let's think about it. They can work for multiple different tour companies. They have a decision over what contracts they accept and when they don't, when they want to work and when they don't. They are responsible for filing their own taxes, and they are often entitled to a certain degree of freedom over how they carry out the contract itself. They're typically hired for specific tours or specific seasons, but they're not entitled to health insurance or other paid leave. On the other hand, an employee tour guide works for a single tour company, which has greater control over the pay, the schedule, the training, and the method of the tour delivery. Employees usually, but not always, receive benefits. They're subject to withholding tax from that company, and they essentially have a more stable but often less flexible working arrangement. So as you can see, as a tour business owner, the big takeaway here is that you really cannot treat these two types of people you work with in the same way. Now let's dive into the heart of the discussion here today, which is the pros and cons of going on each route and some considerations for you as a tour business owner. Let's start with the pros of engaging freelancers. The first is flexibility. Freelancers offer the ability to quickly scale up or down your workforce to meet seasonal demands or maybe project-specific needs without that long-term commitment of an employee. Second is cost effectiveness. Typically, working with freelancers can be more cost-effective since there's no need to pay for benefits, the taxes, other considerations like this. Freelancers can bring specialized skills to the table. If you need to hire someone that has a specific knowledge or a specific set of skills related to their background or maybe even a language, that can be a benefit. Reduced administrative burden. Working with freelancers often lessens that administrative load related to payroll, benefits administration, and compliance with labor laws. What about some of the cons or downsides of engaging freelancers? Firstly, limited control. While you can set expectations and deadlines, freelancers work independently and ultimately have the final say over their schedule, whether they're going to work with you or not, and some of how they deliver that tour. Variable loyalty or availability. Freelancers often juggle multiple clients, other tour business owners, which might affect their availability or how they prioritize your needs. Onboarding and training can be a challenge. Each new freelancer may require additional onboarding time to understand your operations or standards. But more than that, you cannot have mandatory training for contractors. You have to have very carefully worded contracts in order to meet some of your quality standards. Finally, inconsistent team dynamics. Frequent changes to who is leading your tours can lead to inconsistencies not only in the quality, but in terms of the team dynamic and company culture. The geography, the nature of your tours, and the country in which you operate all will have a huge impact on this decision. For example, many countries in Europe that have those more stringent labor laws find it extremely difficult to have seasonal employees. And for them, contractors might be the right choice. But this is going to vary for every single tour business. So now let's take a look at the pros and cons of hiring employees. Firstly, training and quality control. With tour leader employees, you can implement rigorous and in-depth training programs and quality control measures to ensure that your guest experience always meets your standard. Team cohesion and cultural alignment. Full-time tour leaders contribute to building that unified, cohesive company culture, deeply immersed in your vision, and those best practices can be shared between the team. Long-term investment in loyalty. Investing in your employees' professional growth and development not only fosters loyalties and can reduce some of the cost associated with turnover or lots of people leaving and having to constantly be hiring, but that investment in your team can pay dividend for years and years. Finally, consistency. Employees' dedication allows you to evaluate performance against well-defined standards. You can have rigorous quality control, and guests at the end of the day are much more likely to receive an amazing and on-brand experience no matter which guide or tour leader is hosting that experience. Now, some of the cons or downsides to hiring tour leader employees, well, obviously the investment required. There's financial and time commitment, setting up contracts, salaries, benefits, training, tax withholding. All this is an investment of time and energy. There's the risks of a bad hire. A poor hiring decision can drain resources. It requires time and effort to manage and ultimately replace that individual. It's often more burdensome than just letting go of a tour guide contractor. You have regulatory compliance. So managing employees also means adhering to all kinds of different labor laws and regulations. And this can be complex, time consuming, or you may even need to hire someone to help you with this. Finally, fixed labor costs. Employees represent that fixed cost, and that might include during on and off peak seasons or downturns, which can sometimes strain budgets. So understanding these pros and cons is just the start. And keep in mind, for any one of these downsides or cons, there are things that you can do as a tour business owner to help offset some of those consequences. For example, if you are predominantly working with a team of contractors, while we can't technically call things training, what we can do is build in a rigorous contract where we have clear expectations on deliverables and some of the quality standards for your tours. We can also have tiered contracts that are based on past performance. All of this is allowable, and we highly recommend getting legal counsel to make sure that you're not getting in trouble for it. But this is a great way to essentially reposition some of your training that we would do with employees into more rigorous and robust contracts. It's also worthwhile noting that you can build loyalty with contractors. You can pay them more than some of your competitors. You can invest in them, give them training or professional development opportunities, even if they are working for your competitors. This is actually a pet peeve of mine. It drives me absolutely crazy when I'm talking to a tour business owner who is committed to the guest focus formula, who's committed to prioritizing guest experience and creating memories of a lifetime on the one hand, but on the other hand, they are withholding, whether it's tools or training or resources for a contracted tour leader because it might possibly benefit a competitor. This is absolutely crazy making. You are sacrificing your own guest experience. You want to do everything possible to set up those contractors for success. As you might be seeing here, what is the guest-focused thing to do here? Ultimately, shifting towards a predominantly employee-based team. As your business model allows, or as you reach a sufficient size, is our recommendation. This creates a team of people that can be centered around your guest-focused culture. They can be centered around your vision and values. And ultimately, we're able to drive a more consistent experience no matter when a guest happens to join us, no matter who they are with. Now, it may be crossing your mind, well, Kelsey, can I actually do both? Can I get the best of both worlds by having some employees and some contractors? Absolutely you can. And I like the cut of your jib, gold star. By having that blended approach, you can get the benefits of having the consistency and quality and some of that culture with a full-time employee while having some of that flexibility to adapt to seasonal demands or needs in the tour business. Absolutely, you can do both. There is no rule here saying that you have to do one or the other. So wrapping up and bringing this all together, whether you choose to hire employee tour leaders, contract tour guides, or a blend of both, it's about making an informed decision, things that align with your company vision, values, and goals, where you are in the world, and what's possible given the present market dynamics. All that being said, we have to remember the most important thing. Your tour leaders, guides, and experience hosts, the frontline staff, are some of the key assets that you have for creating unforgettable experiences. You absolutely have to get this right. We hope some of these insights have helped you today. Now, if you want to talk to an experienced tour business owner, a mentor or a coach who has scaled and grown their tour businesses, who has worked on the systems, the processes, and the tools to create quality at scale, man, oh man, you should book a call with a team member. Go to the link below, guestfocus.com/book a call for a free 45-minute strategy call, and we can go through some of the best practices in more detail if that suits. Otherwise, before you go, let us know in the comments down below some of your insights in working with contractors or employees, and weigh in. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.